In this video, we are going to look at the two possible scenarios for simplifying the nth root of a to the nth power. Since there are two possible scenarios, one when n is an even integer and one when n is an odd integer, we are going to split this in two and look at both scenarios. All right, let's start by looking at n being an even positive integer, such as the square root of -5 squared. Now, square root implies that the index here is a 2. So this 2 matches this 2. So in this case, my n is an even positive integer, and it is the number 2. Now, there's two ways we can do this. We can work through it step by step, or we can just jump to the rule. Let's look at it step by step first. That way we will understand the rule when we get there. According to order of operations, I need to simplify underneath the radical sign first. So that means I would do the square root of -5 squared, which means -5 times itself, which is -5 times -5, which means I would have the square root of +25. Now, that square root symbol means the principal square root, which is always a positive number. So this boils down to a +5 as my final answer. Now, let's look at it using the rule. Again, if I have the square root of -5 quantity squared, this tells me that whatever my a is here, my answer is the absolute value of a. Well, right here, my a is -5. So this means my answer should be the absolute value of -5, which is in fact +5. And we get the same answer. So you can work through it by simplifying underneath the radical sign first and then taking the principal square root, and then once you get the hang of it, you can just go straight to the rule. All right, next, let's look at what happens when n is an odd positive integer. For example, say we have the cubed root of -5 cubed. So again, we'll work through this both ways. So if I simplify underneath my radical sign, that means I'm going to do -5 cubed. So that means cubed root of -5 times -5 times -5 again. -5 times -5 times -5 is -125. So now I'm wondering, well, can I take the cubed root of a negative number? If this was a square root, the answer would be no, because you can't square something and get a negative answer because you're multiplying a number by itself. You're always going to get a positive answer. But cube root means that you had 3 numbers multiplied together. So it is possible for the cubed root of -125 to be a negative number, and that number is -5. And the reason why is because -5 times -5 times -5 is -125. Now, if we use the rule above, let's start over. So if we had the cubed root of -5 cubed, according to the rule, whatever this a is, the answer is just a, no need for absolute value. So in this case, my a is -5. So my answer here is just -5 with no need for those absolute value signs.